Hello, dance studio owners. I'm Shannon Westbeer, Program Manager for the Inner Circle.
And welcome to a brand new series of the Transform My Dance Studio podcast. Over the next 6 weeks, we are delighted to be introducing guest host Cara Poppitt for our unmissable Dance Studio Connection to Creation series. Cara is not only one of the DSOA's industry-leading coaches inside the Dance Studio Owners Inner Circle, she is also the founder and artistic director of Soul Connection in Calgary, and the founder and CEO of the Studio Fine Arts Club, offering daytime revenue for dance studios. In this podcast series, Cara will be sharing the tools and strategies that have helped propel her business ventures into empires, and how she taps into connection to lead the way.
Before we dive into today's episode, we have some huge news here in the Dance Studio Owners Association. The doors are officially open to apply to join the Dance Studio Owners Inner Circle, but they are only open for a very limited time. So, if you're ready to take your studio to the next level and join our team of coaches and guest experts in the world's leading program for dance studio owners, make sure to apply for the Dance Studio Owners Inner Circle today at dsoa.com/inner circle. We hope you enjoy this special episode of the Transform My Dance Studio podcast with guest host and Inner Circle coach, Cara Poppitt.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to our podcast from Connection to Creation. It is Cara Poppitt here, and I'm joining you from Calgary, Alberta, Canada. I am the founder of Soul Connection Dance Studio and also the founder of the international preschool program for dance studios generating daytime revenue called the Studio Fine Arts Club. I'm also a studio growth coach for the Inner Circle, and I'm delighted to share the blend of experience that I have serving in all three areas to bring you a lot of information that will hopefully increase your connection and allow you to create what you desire in your business. And so the first episode, we really talked about the power of connection. Then we moved into connecting with people in order to communicate. Our third episode, we talked about some connection and communication tips. And today I'm here to talk about empowering your team through connection. So whenever we want to empower our team, we really want to come from an authentic place so that we can get the results that we desire. A lot of studio owners will share, some of their frustrations with their team members. Perhaps they're saying they're giving information and instructions and things aren't happening or things aren't coming along properly. And sometimes this can be resolved from really, really setting up proper communication and clear expectations. And so I'm going to introduce you to the concept of really empowering your team through connection. So when I think of empowerment, I think about seeing the person that we're working with, asking them some really good questions, creating with them so they're part of the process so they can feel empowered, and then really serving them and setting them up for success. I also believe in caring for people along the process so that they can reach their potential. No one likes to operate from always a place of fear. It's way better to operate from a place of love. And then also always assuming positive intent with all communication. So I'm going to jump right in and go through each one of these pillars to help you empower your team through connection. So the first one is see them. This is a very simple concept, but often we don't see people. So for example, you might be working away on your laptop, your office is maybe, your door is closed, and someone comes in and says, "Hey, can I have a few minutes with you?" And instead of looking up at them, you might just continue to write your email and say, "Yes, I'll be there in a minute." And that is a missed opportunity because we didn't really see the person. So this also transfers into our personal lives as well. So for example, when you come home from work, do you put your phone down and say hello to your family? When your kids are wanting to play with you, do you put your phone down and look at them? And these little moments really add up when we can see someone. So when we see them for who they are and how they're showing up, we can connect to them instantly. And this allows us to really form that connection and improve our communication and really improve our relationship with people. So empowering your team is all about relationships. People want to follow leaders that are confident and have clear expectations and pave the path, and also give them some flexibility within a framework so that they can add their special touch and feel that they can own the project a bit more. Delegation is one thing, and also empowerment. You can delegate and empower them to get the best results. So the first step, we see them. The second step is ask them. So when we are, assigning a project or a newsletter or whatever we're delegating, do we ask them for input? So asking them how they feel about it, asking them, what timeline is reasonable, asking them what they need to be set up for success, asking them, do you see any roadblocks that might happen? But asking really empowering questions helps people set their plans in motion and really be set up for success. So if they have to do all the guesswork and they have to figure out all of the items, sometimes it might take a lot longer than if it's clear for you in your mind, you can communicate effectively and deliver the information to them so that they can take a project and run with it. So asking them questions that are going to support the process is key. Don't just ask them questions to ask them, but ask them, what are some important things that they may need to know that they haven't thought about already. I like to think about painting a picture of what success looks like. So here's what success would look like. Here's what the finished product would look like. And let's work backwards. And so asking them to be part of that process is really, really valuable. The next step is creating with them. So when we just delegate a project or a proposal or, a show, whatever we're doing to delegate to our team, because it is impossible as leaders to do it all. And it's something that we all have to accept. A common myth might be that we think about, which is common for all of us, is, no one can do it as good as me, so I'll just do it because it'll be quicker. And in the long term, that principle's not going to be serving, because you're going to run out of time, you're going to run out of energy, you're going to run out of resources, and also your passion, because when you're doing too much, it's really not sustainable. So creating with them is key. So bringing people into the process at the place of creation is so valuable. Asking them, okay, we're going to do this new campaign and we want to attract, 50 new students. So here are some ideas. What do you guys think? What do you think would be unique? I have these 3 possibilities. Can we brainstorm on them? That could be a simple invitation to create with them. You can still lead the process because you don't want it to be open-ended and get nowhere in your meetings. But if you just give a few options and create with people, it can really, really help them feel empowered. And when people feel empowered, they take pride in their work. They go the extra mile. They ask the questions. They deliver with excellence because they really, really want what you want, which is to serve your community and serve your initiative and meet your goals. When people are not empowered, they just go through day-to-day tasks without seeing the big goal or the impact they're going to make, and they have actually less job satisfaction. So people that stay with your studio for a long time, they have high job satisfaction. And it's a really, really great component to create with them so you can increase their job satisfaction. So we see them first, we ask them questions, we create with them, so we co-create. And then the next item is you serve your team. And when I'm saying serving your team, what I'm referring to here is setting your team up for success in a non-threatening manner. When people feel threatened or they're scared to make mistakes, they're going to constantly need you to hold their hand and circle back on every decision. And that becomes really hard for you to grow and scale your business when you're involved in every micro decision. So serving your team could look something as simple as, hey, here's their project. I'm going to ask for your input. We're going to, work out all the kinks. We're going to design this together. And then I'm going to circle back with you in 1 week. And in the meantime, if any questions pop up, feel free to email me. And then I'll circle back again in 2 weeks before we finalize, our proposal or our showcase design or whatever it is that you're working on. And so you serve your team, you tell them what to expect, and you put yourself out there and tell them what the points of contact will be and what they can expect. Serving your team is really important. The next thing is caring for your team. So how do you care for your team? Do you appreciate them? Do you give them some positive affirmations? Do you say thank you? Do you give them the resources that they need to be successful? And the easier you can make their job, the better they're going to perform with ease and confidence, and they're going to do a really great job. So caring for your team is really important. I think in today's day, we can always increase our kindness. We can always care for people. It can be as simple as telling them what you really loved about what they just delivered for you, and giving them some feedback as well, in a caring manner. So for example, when we use the word but, it can take away the power of the positive that we may have shared. So for example, let's say that someone comes to you and they did a program design and you say, great, I love the front of the program, but inside it's not organized, it's not aligned, it doesn't look very clean. So I need you to change that. They don't even really hear or receive the part that was great about the program. And so if you can replace the word but with the word and, so you say, oh, I love the program design, you did a really great job. And inside the program, if you could just check the alignment to make sure everything's justified, that will be a little bit easier to read. That would be greatly appreciated. I do it with kindness, and I've cared for my team member as well. And so if you can remove, this is simple, but remove your buts with an and. This also applies in the studio room. So when a dancer is going across the floor, going into like a hop chaîné turn, and they do a really great jump, or a Brishnikov jump, or anything that they've done really well, and you comment on that, but let's say they did not spot their head. You say, oh, I loved your jump, you did so great, but you didn't spot your head. You can say the same thing in a different way to get the message across in a well-received manner. So it would look like this. I loved when you went across the floor and did your Brishnikov or your hop chaîné Brishnikov. It was excellent. Your height was really great. And moving forward, next time, keep your head up and spot it a little bit sharper. That compliment will be received and landed. So we care for our people and we care for our students as well. My final step is really assuming positive intent with all communication. So this is a big one. If we see the world through a lens that we're a victim and everything is happening to us, not in our favor, it prevents us from seeing what's right. And we often go into relationships with different people with this lens without even knowing it. So are you a victim, or can you be a woman warrior, which is someone who, takes the leap of faith, protects her team, is courageous, is bold, and finds solutions, and decides to be determined rather than discouraged when things are hard. And so I invite you to really take that mindset and really assume positive intent with all communication. And when you speak, I want you to be mindful of how you're communicating. Is your body language open? Are you connecting to people? Are you seeing them and greeting them with your eyeballs and your smile? Are you asking them empowering questions that will make them think of different possibilities or solutions and that really serve the project? Are you creating with them? So are you bringing them, and involving them in the process? And are you serving your team? Are you setting them up for success in the best way possible? Not necessarily the way that's easiest for you, not necessarily the best way for you, but the best way for them. And so I believe, as a leader, I have many different people that I work with, and I believe in treating them all equally, but managing them differently and coaching them individually based on what they need. So someone might need more visuals, someone might need more feedback, someone might need less direction. They actually take ownership of it better when they have less direction. So understanding what your people need and really serving them in the best way possible will help you empower your team through connection. And remember always to care for your team, because that goes a long way. It builds trust, it builds retention, and it builds possibility. And then my final thing again is always assume positive intent with all communication. So wherever you are in the leadership journey, you're in a great spot. There's always an opportunity to learn and grow and evolve, and becoming aware of how you communicate and how you connect to people will really help you up-level your leadership skills. So become curious about who you are. Be intentional. When I think of empowerment, I think of even, how I show up at work, but even how I show up with my family and my children, and teaching children to be empowered, to find solutions and not always, be managed or led to every extreme, but letting them think for themselves is a really great skill. We do this in our fine arts club, where we really want our little people, and they're as young as 2 to 5 years of age, to be empowered. And that's a pretty big concept at such a young age. And I can tell you for sure it's possible. And it's possible when they walk through the doors and we see them. We make eye contact and we validate them. We will ask them a simple question like, what was the best part of your morning so far? Or what are you most excited for? We ask them a question, and that allows us to connect really quickly. We create with them. So for example, in our art program, where we do a craft, the craft's not going to look like a masterpiece when they're 2 and 3, but the journey is going to be pretty cool. And so creating with them by showing the vision and then letting them do the little steps with their little fingers. Maybe they're gluing something and they're part of the process and they're creating with you. Then we serve them. So we help them feel safe and secure by making sure that they know what to expect. When kids feel that they know what to expect and it's predictable, they feel safe and secure. And this also translates into adulthood, but definitely in children of all ages, even your teens, when they have repetition and they have consistency, they feel safe and secure. So we serve them, we care for them. So we give them positive affirmations. We tell our little students when they're doing a great job. We might do a high five, fist pump, a nice big bear hug, whatever we need to care for them. And when all this happens, the child can actually feel empowered to put up his or her hand, to ask good questions, to take on more of a leadership role rather than waiting for someone to do everything. And we've seen this as early as age 2. So it's quite possible. And when we connect with our students, we always assume positive intent. And so when a child does something that's not positive, assume positive intent and redirect the negative behavior. So tell people what you want them to do. So remember, when you're sitting in the circle, when Miss Cara is speaking, all of our ears are open and we're listening. And if you have a question, you're going to put your hand up because I can't wait to see your hand. That is a positive redirection rather than, oh, no talking, no talking, no talking. You can't talk till your hand's up. We keep repeating in the negative form. And so this also works with our staff members. So wherever you are, I want you to know that it's possible. I don't want to overwhelm you. And I just want you to get curious on how you can empower your team through the art of connection. And I believe when we connect, anything is possible and you can create anything. So I hope that this has added a lot of value. We have 2 more podcast episodes coming up where we're going to talk about leading your team with confidence and connection, really amplifying the leader in you, and then creating your thriving business is our final episode, episode 6. So stay tuned. Feel free to comment on any of the episodes to let us know what you are loving, what's resonating with you. And remember that as a leader, your work is never done. You are always evolving and you are always making a huge impact. So congratulations to you for taking on this role, and remember to do the work. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
We hope you loved our brand new series, Dance Studio Connection to Creation, with Cara Poppitt. Your ratings and reviews help us to bring you this value-packed podcast every week. So please be sure to leave us some stars and your comments wherever you listen to your podcast. If you're ready to take your studio to the next level and build your own business empire with industry-leading coaches, now is the time to apply to join the Dance Studio Owners Inner Circle. Doors are now open, but spaces are strictly limited, so make sure you get in fast at dsoa.com/inner circle. We look forward to seeing you next week.